All right. Next up, we have lack of WCS tournament for 2016. Those are rumors, and I have the details of the rumors for you guys, the people that weren't in the know. So what I've been told from multiple people, and the reason this got leaked, by the way, is because Kespa got told 2 days ago how it was gonna work for next year. So WCS points, so it's rumors, right? But what would happen is WCS points are only given to anything outside Korea. So there would be a ranking system for GSL and SSL. So the top 8 of GSL SSL would get to BlizzCon. And then the top 8 of WCS, which wouldn't include too many Koreans, would go to BlizzCon. So top 8 WCS, top 8 GSL SSL. Now, if you're in GSL and SSL, you cannot play anything that's outside Korea. So that would mean that DreamHack and IEMs would be region locked. So that's the whole WCS circuit for you. It's toned down a lot. All the foreign tournaments are region locked unless you have someone like True, you have someone like Polt, you have someone like Hydra who doesn't stay in Korea and lives in NA. And I think it opens up the door to EU as well. If you go live in EU and you don't play GSL, SSL, you can play DreamHack and IEM. But when you think about it, it's maybe not worth it to just play those and go live in EU, because the rumors are that WCS Challenger and Premier is gone. The current format, or the last year's format, or rather this year's format, would be erased. There are rumors that ESL is not interested anymore in running WCS. You have to keep in mind, I'm sure some money is given by Blizzard. Like, what I'm saying is rumors, guys. There's no one at Blizzard that told me this. Like, I hope they don't put my face on a board and play darts with it. ESL, they're probably given some money by Blizzard, but they still have to get sponsors, and they still have to turn a profit. Because they're paying employees to run every offline and online show that they do. So ESL runs WCS, NA, and EU, and they're not interested anymore. And so when you have a company like ESL who's not interested in running WCS anymore, there's not a lot of other companies you can turn to continue running the product, the league. And so Challenger and Premier would be removed. I'm sure there are, maybe we'll go back to 2012 and they'll have country tournaments or something like that more other than DreamHack and IEM. But for now, those are all the rumors that have been thrown around a lot yesterday due to Kespa teams being given some information, obviously not all of it, but the whole goal of this discussion, and I know a lot of people don't like talking about rumors because, you know, what's the point, is to discuss about the EU scene. The NA scene as an ad, a whole lot of money to go, to throw around and to go around because of all the Koreans and WCS Challenger and Premier. But now, without those leagues, the EU players are now in the same boat as the NA players, where making a yearly income from StarCraft 2 becomes really difficult. You know, maybe the average salary for an EU player is, what, 500 euros? If I'm optimistic? No? No? And so, when you take away $6,000, 3 seasons of Premier, you take that money away from them. Do you continue being full-time? Do you still play StarCraft? And so that part of the discussion of EU being in the same boat as NA is what I wanted to bring to the table today. And so, uThermal, I know you went full-time, so I was really interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, I've been following the rumors, and I think there's definitely some big flaws, obviously, in the rumors. I think there's still going to be some kind of WCS event.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not like the seasons, but I know I have some sources. I can spoil everything, but I know there's been contact with Blizzard about something WCS related, WCS event related. So I still think that's like something that's missing from the the theories. But to get to your question, for me, it's not the biggest of deals because personally, WCS has always been the tournament where I performed the worst. Um, like for last year, I was actually like a top three foreigner in like WCS points outside of WCS. I managed to qualify for basically like everything.
Hmm.
Uh, Only in WCS was where I performed poorly. So for me, it wouldn't be too big of a blow. Of course, like the free 2 to 4.5K is really welcome. But for me, it wouldn't be that big of a blow, though. If they do remove WCS, I think it'll be quite a quite harsh for the StarCraft scene since WCS kind of became what StarCraft was about. It was the tournament most people were most hyped about. It had by far the most viewers. Like finals of WCS in Poland had like 4 or 5 times the viewership over DreamHack. And I do think it will blow to the StarCraft scene if it does happen. And maybe many EU players will decide to quit. I know there's a chat full of pro gamers where many people have said they might not even have bought Legacy of the Void if they knew there was no WCS. So I know the majority of the players really aren't happy with that. But personally, for me, it wouldn't be the biggest of deals, I think.
Okay. That's good. That makes me a little bit optimistic. What about you, SpaceMarine?
Yeah, well, I have been looking into the numbers. It's actually something I have been discussing with Theo and a lot of other players. Now I'm kind of changing subject a little bit. World of Warcraft have earned like more than, I think it was $10 billion every year for the past, I don't know, 10 years. Now they only got 5.4 million subscribers active each month. So they still earn millions and millions of dollars. So it was not a big deal for Blizzard, apparently, to throw down $200,000 for a WCS event. But it looked like it didn't really achieve what it actually should because the viewership continuously dropped. I remember back in the days, 2014 or something in WCS, we peaked at 100,000 viewers at some point, but now we dropped down to like 40,000. And I definitely think the viewership had something to do with this because we dropped like 50% of all the viewers. And if they are going to invest another 200,000 each fourth month, then they're definitely going to have a huge problem once the viewership
Wait,
drops.
did you just say the foreign WCS viewership dropped? Because that raised by quite a bit,
Well, we
actually.
didn't peak at 100,000 like in 2014.
Yeah, I meant like through the seasons of 2015, viewership actually raised quite a bit because
Yeah, it
the
did.
max for the first and second season was like 50K or 55, and like Mana against 4GG had like 87 or something. It was actually really good viewership for the last season.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I think
was.
2014 was much better than 2013 when like faceless Koreans won every season.
Yeah, Duck Duck against who was it? MC. It was.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was like
exactly. Who was it?
to me in 2013 was like once Stefano retired, people like tapped out heavily from WCS, and then the faceless Korean problem came in. So to summarize it, Morrow, what are your thoughts on the lack of WCS? Does it change a lot of things for you, or
I think it would turn the whole scene upside down. I think over half of the foreigners would quit the game because like I did like okayish at DreamHacks in the past. I could like beat Pig Baby, I beat the Laser, and I beat some other guy, right? At some DreamHack, right? $0. That's like top 16, and I'm dead. Like that's the Korean there, and I'm dead. Like there's not a lot of money in DreamHack.
That's part
It's
of the rumors, though. They will increase the price pool as well for DreamHacks and IAMs.
if that were to be the case, then this could of course compensate, and there would be a reason to be a pro gamer. But if they just remove WCS, which is the biggest league right now, like this is the reason we have pro gamers. Like
Live.
it's just not gonna be any pro gamers.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
why
But
would you practice for months and then go to DreamHack, sit on a terrible chair, and like have a fucking monitor that turns off itself every 3 hours, and you play against a fucking Korean who like never stepped outside of his house. All he does play games all day long, and we were playing the game that he loves, StarCraft 2, and you had 3 hours of sleep in like a shitty hotel, and you lose. And you're like, all right, let's practice another 5 months and we go to the next group. Like, no, like people, we don't want to practice for LAN events.
Yeah, but
WCS was so great because we could sit at home and we could show the best games we possibly could show, and we would get a shit ton of money for it. Like, there was good reason to be a pro gamer here.
But DreamHack would be region locked though. You'd only have like the Pults and the Hydras and the Trues. There wouldn't be any Koreans out of Korea.
I've heard region lock before, and that doesn't hold much weight.
No, there's always going to be Koreans in events.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course, like if the events have more money and that kind of stuff, then I'm sure they will have more money to supplement players, and they'll have more like they will have more budget. They don't need to put it all on prize pool, right? So the events will be high quality. So it's basically going to be more about the LAN events and less about, you know, the online WCS. And I'm personally fine with that. If that's the case, then, you know, you could continue being a player. If you're maybe live in Russia, you're maybe a bit sad because traveling is kind of hard. But yeah, like that could work out, right? I'm not really sure if it's better or worse just yet.
But
personally, I don't really like it.
Isn't that how it started for GT, MC, and all the others? They were like, okay, I'm doing pretty good in EU tournaments, so I'm just gonna move to EU, win all the tournaments, and then go back to Korea. Except for GT.
Like, well, what's stops them from doing that again?
Yeah, they're just gonna do the same thing again. They're gonna move here, like Hydra. He also moved here, won WCS, and now he's just, you know. I don't think he's in America.
What do you mean?
I'm not sure.
He lives in America most of the time.
Does he? Okay.
Sometimes he goes on vacation to the CJ Antis house, but he's usually in America.
But
but Koreans always come to European or America to win the tournament, so there's just going to be more of those. But at least they're going to cut down the 20 Koreans.
I really wonder how his marriage is going to go if his girlfriend lives in Korea and he lives in America.
Oh, so he's not getting a green card? That's.
I have no idea what they're gonna do. I wouldn't want to live with my wife in some team house.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty shitty.
But apparently, no one knew about these rumors, and then Root announced that they're re-signing Hydra, and then I think it's a day after. Then there's the leaks that come out. I wonder if Root was a little bit. Disappointed, or you know how they were surprised by this this news, it backfired on them, maybe.
Well, I know that Blizzard does usually communicate with the teams that have to take care of visas for the Koreans. I also know Psystorm, for example, with True has direct contact with Blizzard, so they probably know more than
you think so? Because I can't say who I talked to, but I talked to some people, that should have known. And they didn't know. They were shocked. On the same level as should have known, Psystorm and Root. So maybe you're right.
Yeah.
But maybe they weren't. So it's interesting. It's crazy how nothing is announced and nothing is released, and there's a month left before the season should technically start. We'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting. I mean, if what you say is true and DreamHack and IEM has more money, will many players retire? It'll be interesting. I hope not, because the game is good. So. The game is good.
But that doesn't matter. You need money to live. So, and us StarCraft players, we're pretty old by now, so it's not just about playing games anymore. It's about making a living for most of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, and I understand that. All right, guys, let's get to the Reddit questions. We kind of ran a long show. I wanted to do it shorter today, but congrats on beating Lilbo. Considering you switched to Protoss early in the beta, do you feel poor Lilbo had enough time to practice for the Swedish juggernaut that is you?
I'm not sure how long Lilbo has practiced, but apparently he was practicing before BlizzCon started, so... Yeah. I mean, he should have had enough time to practice for me.
On a scale of 1 to Justice, how great did it feel to take a bite out of the baguette?
it felt fucking amazing, man. Finally, a matchup where mechanical skill really shows. What a matchup, right? Yeah. What a life.
What a life.
I hope it doesn't change too much.
During DreamHack... Yeah. During DreamHack Wintercast, the Muslim said he thinks Void Rays could be better counter to Liberators than Tempests. Do any of you have experience on either facing Void Rays as Terran or playing with them against Terran? Let's start with uThermal.
Yeah, actually, like, it's kind of strange because Void Rays are insanely good against Liberators, but you can't really have them in your composition, you know, like, I believe one Void Ray goes like 5 Liberators, like, it's actually a really hard counter, but are you really gonna play with like Adept Void Ray or something? I don't think it really works. So, I mean, they counter Liberators really well, but
they just can't get there, right?
Yeah, you can get there definitely, because if you play like, if you open like Oracle or Stargate or something and there's like Liberators...
No, I mean like in an actual battle on paper, it's really hard for your Void Rays to survive and reach the Liberators.
Yeah, like be valuable. Like if there would be a composition, like imagine Phoenix Colossus turns out Void Ray Colossus is okay as well, then it's really good. But unless there's a composition that's actually viable for like the mid and late game, then it's not really, you know, suitable as a counter.
Okay. SpaceMarine, any opinion on the Void Rays?
I think you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, buddy. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So, a Void Ray deals like super much amount of damage to Liberators, of course, but it only requires a little bit of micro, and they're so immobile too. You can of course try to defend drop, but Medivacs are so fast, and Marines are so fast, that they can just run around the Void Rays. But of course, I have seen a lot of good Protoss players trying to focus fire on the Liberators, and then they immediately die. It looks really, really good. But the thing is, you cannot go upgrades for air and ground, and then you have a starport, robo, gateways, and Twilight for upgrades, and then you also have a robotics bay. That is so many buildings, you cannot afford Void Rays like that. But of course in the late game, if you do build a few Void Rays, you know, if you're even in supply and so on, it's actually really good because they literally nuke Liberators. So they're really good, but the question is just, can you even get to the point where you get Void Rays? Because you cannot go Void Rays immediately. You need disruptors or some kind of AoE to deal with it. I
think Void Ray is like kind of the noob solution. Like, it sounds a bit disrespectful, but I mean, like, the really good players in EU just know how to counter them already, you know, just by pylon placement and stalkers. And some people even make Phoenix. And Void Ray is like, I have no idea what to do, let's make a Void Ray kind of thing. That's what it feels like. It's kind of like the noob solution.
But the problem is definitely the tech structures. You cannot go upgrades for Void Rays because it only, you know, +1 doesn't even matter when you go with the ability and so on. And you cannot just randomly go for a Stargate. That's also why a lot of players have been whining about Tempest. People are like, your Protoss, you should just go Tempest. And then the Protoss is like, okay, now I go Tempest. And then by the time you have 2 Tempests, the Terran can afford like 10 Liberators. Then he just kills you anyways.
I do think Tempests are really good, actually. Whenever you get to the late game and you have an army of Tempests, that's probably the hardest thing I have to deal with so far in TVP.
Yes, but uThermal, actually, I want to hear your opinion on this. Don't you feel like by the time a Protoss player puts down 2 starports, a fleet beacon, and then builds the 2 Tempests, then you can actually afford 10 Liberators to kill them anyways? Don't you feel like that?
I don't think Liberators are that good against Tempest, though. Like, you don't make 10 Liberators to right-click on the Tempest, you know?
No, but you can afford a counter.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it kind of reminds me of, you know, early Heart of the Swarm TVZ, where the Terran is rallying bio non-stop, and the Zerg wins if they manage to get Hive out, but mostly they can't, because the Marines just kill them. That's kind of what it feels like now. If you try to get Tempest out, you will most likely die to some push, or at least lose your fort most of the time. But if you actually do get a lot of Tempest, then you should most of the time win, I think. I think late game Protoss is still very strong, just like in previous versions of StarCraft.
Yeah, but it's the transition that's kind of hits, right? The transition is very hard.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. But I mean, even like 2 Tempests are really like a really big nuisance. Like, even if you're like trying to siege your Liberators and there's like those 2 Tempests shooting your Liberators from really far, it's still really annoying. So it is a transition, but if you do manage to get them out there, they're pretty strong as well.
All right, next question. Well, sorry, go on. I didn't want to cut you off.
I just think it's like a build refinement issue for now, since Legacy is still so fresh. Just like, you know, as I said before, Heart of the Swarm TVZ, it looked impossible at first, and then people just learned drone timings and it suddenly became Zerg favorite. I think that's what kind of the Tempest thing here is, just like a build refinement issue.
All right. If you could choose to become one StarCraft unit or character, which should it be? Which one should it be, and why? Personally, I'll start. Being Artanis would be dope as fuck. He's really buff and he's badass. But I don't know about you guys. Morrow. A unit or a character? You'd be like Nova, so you could sell out harder on stream, right?
Go with someone else first.
Okay,
Think
okay.
for a minute.
What
Morrow
about you?
would be a disruptor.
What about you, uThermal?
What would I be? I wish I could choose one of them campaign units, but I've never played the campaign, so I wouldn't know. I'd probably be a Hellion or something, because I like to be fast, or a Medevac.
Wouldn't you be an Oracle?
No, man, I have to stick with Terran. Fuck that shit.
What about you, SpaceMarine?
I would totally be. Well, can we pick units or also characters from the story?
Yeah, characters from the story, man.
Okay, I would definitely pick Zeratul because he's the only character that was so cool that they had to kill him for people to give a fuck about Artanis.
Whoa, the spoilers! No, just kidding. But you know, I agree with you.
The spoilers, dude.
I was kind of sad when he died because I was like, we just barely got to know him. Like he was just like a side character in the previous expansions, and now he's dead.
He was a very very big character in StarCraft 1 because it was him, Phoenix, and what is his name? The most known character of Protoss.
Tassadar?
Tassadar, for fuck's sake. Him, Phoenix, and
Dark
Artanis
Templar
was the one that won the war against the Zerg, and now like he's back.
I don't even remember StarCraft 1. All I remember is Nova or Kerrigan transforming into a Zerg. It's been so long, man. How do you remember all that? You've replayed it,
well,
right?
I read the stories in 2012 or 13.
Oh, okay, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah. They're really cool.
All right, what unit, Morrow? Have you made up your mind?
I think I would be Abathur, because I'm like always looking to improve, and I like.
Abathur looks like a memer as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a good memer, and I consider myself pretty popular. So. Yeah.
Do any of you off race? If not, why? If so, at what league? I have a funny story about this, guys. So I'm practicing, I think Sunday night or yesterday, and I'm like having a good time, just playing the ladder. I get SpaceMarine, he's Zerg, and I'm like, oh yeah, you play Zerg, that's cool. Man, he's like, yeah, I beat like every top 150 GM Protoss or something. I'm like doing really well, and next thing you know, a Rune of Sarah's close position by ground. I slap him, I walk him, I whip him, and then did you GG? I'm not sure if you did, but it was a great game.
No, I'm just kidding. I said, well, I can beat some 50 GMs, but that doesn't mean I can beat you.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. That's okay. It was just a pre-game before a match in Nation Wars.
You know, I kind of gave you a compliment, but then you didn't even answer. What a bitch.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, SpaceMarine, do you only play Zerg, or?
Okay, I do play Terran a little bit, but it's so little it doesn't even count. But I usually play Zerg because I feel like it's really, really important. When I go Mutas, I can really feel the difference. When I'm a Protoss player and I see Mutas, I'm like, fuck, this is impossible. This game is unbalanced. I cannot win this with Stalkers. I need Phoenixes. But when you play the Zerg and you have Mutas, then it looks it's such a different feeling. It really helps your decision making as a Protoss player too, sometimes. Because then you see, okay, it's actually not that easy to win if you off race. But I would not recommend to off race unless you play like at least 3 hours a day, because it's better to just master your own race rather than mastering another race.
Okay. What about you, uThermal?
Well, I used to be Protoss for like the first 2 years I played.
What the fuck?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't. Where have I been?
I switched to Terran in like 2012 or something.
Why?
Was it the speed Medevacs, or?
Yeah, it was such a bad decision. I know. No, it was 2012. Hard and Strong wasn't even on. No, your timings, that's right. No. Like Protoss in Wings of Liberty was basically just either you all in or you just camp for like 40 minutes. So
yeah.
I thought it was kind of boring. So I ended up switching to Terran, and now sometimes when I get pissed off at TVT or something, I just play some Protoss on the ladder and make some adepts. And actually, I'm not that bad at Protoss. In Hunter Storm, I still beat people like Elaser by doing 1 base 4 gate on the ladder. It feels really good. I never played Zerg though. I really hate Zerg. I used to be random for like 50 games when I started, but Zerg, I don't want to spend time learning that shit. It seems so frustrating.
Did you play StarCraft 1? Like, did you have any RTS background before StarCraft 2?
Well, I played Brute War, like, you know, like UMS.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Arcade is now, basically.
Filthy casual, it makes sense.
I was like 4 years old when I started that. Wait,
how old are you?
I'm 20 now.
Oh, wow. Okay. What about you, Morrow? Well, actually, fuck you. We know all about you, Morrow. I random like 2-3 games at the start of every stream. I used to play Zerg, and then I tried Terran for a week, and that didn't go so well. And then, yeah.
Yeah, Terran is pretty difficult.
Yeah, it is. All right.
Don't try that at home.
Don't play Terra.
Okay, my Legacy of the Void game recently felt fucking awesome and action-packed as fuck. Only downside of Legacy right now is that I don't know any mech strategies that are viable, and the most cool changes for Terran are changes to mech air units. Actually, watching Terran streams, I had the most fun with a Velo, not because he is very good, but he uses very interesting combination units. I swear to God, guys, I probably wouldn't have asked this question if I read that part. Does someone play mech builds? Has someone met a good mech build? Do you still mech is bad? And every matchup. Actually, I'll start first. Yesterday, I played EJK. And he went fucking Marine Hellbat tanks, and I didn't have any storms, and so that was the end of that. But
did you go to Reddit afterwards?
Wait, no, I didn't make a GIF. I wasn't GIF material. Sorry.
Every time I play him, I'm so worried he like gets a nice Reaper bomb or something, and I find myself on Reddit.
Yeah, I feel like people have the same thing with me on ladder. If they get me, they'll end up on YouTube. But EJK, it's the GIFs. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. But yeah, mech strategies, uThermal. Any of them? Any matchup?
No. I even in Heart of the Storm, I was refusing to play mech at the end. I'm just a bio player, and even in TVT, mech has gotten worse now. You need to like take more expansions, and you know, the tanks in the medevacs and the liberators will just make mech really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So for TVT, mech is definitely worse than bio. Kind of the opposite in Heart of the Storm. I think Heart of the Storm mech was a bit better than bio. For TVP, like I can't imagine it being any good, especially since the War Prism is so insane now with the map pool, you know, the Immortals as well. But maybe something will be figured out by Lillecanen with Cyclones or some shit. I really don't know, but I can't imagine it being good. And TVZ, I actually know some players in the EU that play mech, and also I saw, I think Apocalypse beat Bly with mech, actually during this broadcast in the Go for SC2. So I think mech has some potential against Zerg, probably the best of all matchups, but in general it's just not very strong right now. But that was kind of how it was at the start of, you know, Wings as well. You kind of need to figure out mech, because mech is like, you need to know how to be safe with it. And I think it could just be taking some time for people to figure out good builds and how to be safe with mech before it becomes viable.
But isn't it kind of close? Because in the late game you go like Liberator Siege with some Siege tanks in the mid game, and then you have Widowmice under the Liberator, so it's actually close to mech. But then you have Marine Marauder, Medivac.
Yeah, like for me, any mainly bio composition is just known as bio. Even if you go bio tank or bio liberator, everyone would call it bio mech, but for me it's just bio. Marine tank is just bio. but
bio
you can see it however you want. It's
bio tank, liberator, Widowmines, Medivacs.
It's still bio. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Question for SpaceMarine. I played versus you TVP, and you took a fairly early third base. Do you think there is any option in the current meta for the Terran to immediately punish the Protoss for doing this?
Wait, what? I took a fast third base and then he just lost or what?
No, he's asking you if there's ways to pressure it as a Terran. But you know, you got like, Photon Overcharge, you got Blink, you got, you know.
Yeah, so the really All right, so I feel like if I check a third base, then all my resources is gonna go into tech and economy. So I cannot have any army. I'm relying on the pylons. So if you can drop me, like drops are so difficult to defend because if you're taking a really fast third base, then you're not gonna have any army. You're just gonna have pylons. And even if you have any army, then it's not gonna be enough to defend all three bases. Because if you have the pylons in the front to defend a push, then you cannot have pylons enough to defend the mineralize as well. So I would say going drops really, really good. Even for Zergs as well, the Overlord drops is really good because if you invest in a wall so much, like it is so difficult. It might not do a lot of damage, but you're putting the Protoss behind so much because he's cutting his economy, maybe tech, and then you also, of course, cut some mining too. So drops OP.
uThermal, what about you? What do you think?
If fasters are punishable?
Yeah.
Not really, but I don't think it's that big of an issue because you can just take a faster yourself. But I don't think you can really punish it because of the pylons mostly. I think liberators are pretty decent, but it's not like it doesn't have anything to do with a third nexus. Like even if they're on 2 base, if they didn't cover the mineral line with pylons, they will just die. And it's the same with third nexus. So there's nothing like specifically able to counter a quick third nexus. Even like 5-Rex is not that strong in my opinion, but I think if you take it fast third CC on your own, it's kind of fine. I don't think you should try to punish it. You should just go for the mid game yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's really difficult. Also, I know to Protoss players, it's really difficult to punish a Zerg player for going hatch pool hatch into the gold base on Prion, the gold base map. So I think it's a general thing in StarCraft. I don't know if Morrow agrees with me. It's really, really difficult to punish any third base from any race, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think on most maps, a faster by Terran can actually be punished, but not in a way that you actually win. Like if you push with like a few stalkers on a depth, they just have to like lift off the turret. So I think you can deny the turret on Terran more than for other bases, because like you know, there's no way you're ever killing a Zerg base, and Protoss has the pylons as well. But I don't think you can deny a third from Terran quite well, because if they make a fast third CC, there's not going to be any stim or upgrades to deal with any pushes, so they're going to have to be defensive for a while.
Yeah, against Terran, it's like you don't kill them, but you stop them from landing the base.
Yeah.
And if they do move out, it's not like you go directly and kill their army, but you can like drop at depths and kill all their SCVs. Against Zerg, you can't do anything about the third base, of course, just like hard with Swarm. I feel like a big difference is that Zerg has a lot of timing attacks against Protoss if they take a quick third base. So that's kind of the difference here. But yeah, if you're a Terran against a Protoss and you're losing because they take a quick third base, then you should be, instead of looking for ways to be aggressive, you should be looking for ways to like get economy yourself and get up and running. Because we play in Grandmaster level, and there seems to be not a lot of Terrans who are striving to do timing attacks on Protoss third base.
Okay.
No, I don't think doing timings against Protoss is very efficient right now.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the Muslim do a really nice one base build versus Morrow, and it worked quite nicely.
Yes, on the smallest map in the map pool, and that was against my natural, not my third.
And then you lost. You
and
forgot,
I forgot
warp
warp tech, and I locked in my first adept, and then I locked in my sentry.
So what you're saying
did I
is that
mention
you're
I forgot
shit,
warp
Morrow?
tech? Yeah, 'cause I forgot warp tech.
It's okay,
I
Morrow.
almost won.
I actually think one-base builds are not that bad as Terran.
No,
Against
it's very very strong. It kills me most of the time. So.
Well, I mean,
I think
Olrena
that will
is just honestly like the guy that made Olrena. I don't know, man. I don't know what he was
Olrena's
thinking.
a bad map. I don't know what.
Oh,
I
desRow.
can't even consider Olrena a map. It's just like.
Yo, did you guys
That's
see
right.
the GIF of McCanning force fielding the roaches with the disruptor?
Yeah.
Oh.
You didn't see it? Let me link it to you. in.
I wish my fans did highlights like that.
No. Listen up. Watch it, uThermal, and then I'll say what I have to say.
You know, the first time someone did that against me, I just kept my army there because I didn't know the ball goes through force fields. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, but honestly, like this GIF reminds me of you know, it's good to be a NA player at the NA server. It's like I would never see that.
Minigun GIF.
Yeah, I mean, I would never see that on the EU ladder. Like the opponent
because
would.
people don't make that mistake.
Yeah,
Holy fuck!
yeah. They would poke with one roach. They wouldn't go balls deep. But anyway, last question of the Q&A. The Photon Overcharge David Kim posts saying they want to nerf it. They want to go for 50 seconds, but make Photon Overcharge last longer. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that's reasonable? Do you think it's too big of a nerf and Protoss still sucks a lot of balls? Morrow, let's start with you.
If they went through with the Photon Overcharge change?
Yeah, the nerf, yeah, right now.
Right now it would be like... it would be pretty tough for us. It would be a good change in the long run, so... I told David Kim that I think it's a good idea that they should do it, but he needs to recognize that like it's gonna hurt Protoss a lot, and it's gonna hurt a lot against like circling drops in early game, and it's gonna hurt a lot against like in PvP you will lose a lot of like possibility to defend the depth harass and so on. Like we're used to spamming Photon Overcharge now. So all of our builds rely around that. So when that's gone, it's like if they just did a patch like that, Protoss wouldn't win anymore. I'm pretty sure. Against Terran, it would be kind of fine, but obviously it would be harder than to against stuff like they fly in with the medvacs and then they back off with the medvacs and then they fly in somewhere else, and you would lose all energy.
Yeah, actually, it's just it feels like what I mentioned earlier, that the overcharge right now is balanced, but it kind of limits options a lot. That's my biggest problem with Legacy of the Void. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast as well, that like I don't think there's really any big balance issues, but because of the overcharge, you cannot do certain things that you probably could if the overcharge was nerfed, but that would probably ruin the balance a bit. So I'm really not sure about this patch. I think the game might open up a bit more, but it would probably make Protoss a bit worse.
But do you think it's a problem right now?
No, not at all.
I mean, like, it's just, I think it's like people look at it from like, they're just so focused on how strong it can be, but they don't look at the big picture, right? They come in with 2 medevacs and then 6 pylons get Photon Overcharge and they're like, holy shit, time to go rage on Reddit, right? That's the feeling I get.
The thing is, like, people naturally just whine about their race, so everything seems really imba. And like, there's so many people saying Pylon Overcharge is retarded, but once you know Pylon Overcharge exists, you're not gonna do stuff that loses to it anymore. You're not gonna do like a silly SCV pool when there's like 7 pylons. When you lose, it's your own fault, you know? So if you know it's there, you can just play around it. It's not that big of an issue, but I can imagine people whining about it, because like, you know, when you're like laddering and you're kind of bored and you start doing like off strategies and you run into like 7 pylons and you lose, you're like, oh man, this shit is ridiculous. But it's not actually a problem, I think. I think maybe the offensive pylons are a bit stupid. Like,
oh yeah, that's
you know, I have Arena vetoed, and I went like a practice session with a Protoss friend of mine, and I played Arena and he pylon rushed, you know, like, the fuck is this shit? But I don't know about the aggressive shit, but I don't think it's actually an issue.
I just want to comment on something someone said in the chat. It's one of my subs, so I don't mind picking on him. Protoss bias is real. Guys, uThermal is Terran, and he's at the top of the ladder. So the beauty of having uThermal on the show is that he's so good that nothing is really Emba, because he just puts in the work to figure out how the game works. So you can take your balance whining somewhere else.
Yeah.
What about you? Go ahead.
Well, especially because uThermal beat like, who was it, Snoot, Petit Droge, and Bonnie in Heart of the Swarm. So he's like one of the best Terrans right now. So if you're arguing with one of the best Terrans, then you're actually arguing against Terran right now. Well, anyways.
Yeah, what about you, Photon Overcharge nerfed? Are you okay with it? Are you sad?
Well,
Do you want it to happen?
It just looks like, when you look at it, of course, it deals 30 damage every 0.71 seconds. It's like so much DPS. It's about twice as much as the Nexus cannon in the old days in Heart of the Swarm. But I feel like, I honestly, like, if I have to be honest, it's without that, there's a lot of early game migrations from Zerg, speeding all-ins that can just demolish Protoss. But when I look at it from observer's perspective, I actually think it would be kind of good if they nerfed the pylon a little bit, but not to 50 energy. That would be dumb. But honestly, if I have to be real, I would say nerf the pylon cannon, because it really, really limits a lot of options. Because you see like an oracle going in, it gets countered by a pylon. Then you see a dark shrine, and then there's like a one observer. Well, you just pylon again. I definitely think it's tiny bit too strong, because it shuts down every single harass in PvP at least.
Okay.
Maybe they could nerf it in a different area though. Because I definitely
the thing that pisses me off, like it's so not, like it's 25 energies, so it's like you see an SCV scout and you're like, photon overcharge. You see 2 Zerglings, photon overcharge. Like whatever you see, you put down the photon overcharge. Like you don't care. Like, am I gonna kill that overlord? Maybe, but let's just photon overcharge like this.
Yeah.
It's like it feels so dumb. Like this, you don't feel smart about using photon overcharge. It's you remove the strategical part when it's 25 energy.
Yeah, but it's great to kill an overlord with photon overcharge, though. It feels fucking great.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But another thing that like it's since it is so strong, like so many pros builds are like, all right, so now we're like building up, and this is the part of the game where I build 6 pylons. Like I don't do anything else. I just build 6 pylons, and I'm like 50 food out of 140 because that's part of the build. Like that just feels really dumb to me.
Yeah, so that's probably the worst part from an observer's perspective. It just looks dumb, and in game it actually is a tiny bit too strong. But nerfing it to 50 energy, I think we all can agree. Even uThermal playing Terran, he can agree that 50 energy is absolutely. It's not going to be used as much.
I think it's just going to be something similar to, Heart of the Swarm, where you just use it for pushes, something like that. But right now the pylon overcharge is kind of funny. Like, when you go with the Reaper in the base and you bait it and you go out, you're like, oh man, I'm so sick. And then you do it like 3 times and there's like still 100 energy. Might have to spend my APM somewhere else.
Yeah, it only takes 34.1 seconds to actually regain 25 energy.
I don't know why they would make such a big change though, because 25 and 50 is such a big difference. It's literally just like 4 pylons instead of 8. Like, it kind of feels like when you do pushes with Liberators against Protoss now, they have like a wall of 7 pylons, and that's why they can do well. But imagine it's like only 4 or even 3, given it's Nox Max. It's such a little amount. So I don't know why they would make such a big change. Even like changing it to something more random like 35 would be decent. Like why do they always need these round numbers and quarters and shit? It's so random.
Morrow, do you even build cannons ever? Because I totally forgot. I don't even build cannons like ever. Do you?
Not even against DTs.
No, I still build cannons.
Yeah, I still build cannons.
I feel like cannons has a huge part plays a big part in every matchup still.
Yeah.
Well, in your middle line, and so on.
Yeah, not for frontal defense. No, it's just like you just build pylons.
Well, yeah, it's used sometimes.
All right, we've covered every question. Thank you guys for asking your question on Reddit. It was great to see all the good questions. We had a great discussion today. We went a little bit longer than expected, but it was a great discussion and a lot of fun. Hopefully we get more WCS news next week. Hopefully we get a meaningful balance update from David Kim on Friday. And hopefully Canada comes out on top in Nation Wars on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Announced WCS.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Let's go with the shout-outs. SpaceMarine, do you have any plans to stream or go to a tournament soon? And yeah.
Well, I don't have any plans about tournaments right now. I'm just practicing for WTS. I think a lot of people are doing that. But of course, shout out to my team, Red Bloods. And of course, make sure to tune in on twitch.tv/core SpaceMarine. I will be streaming some protests now and then. My sleep schedule is kind of fucked, so I'm just streaming whenever.
So is it core and then a space and then marine, or I'm just fucking with you? Go on.
No. Okay, and of course, make sure to tune in for uThermal's funeral on Thursday.
Wow.
It's gonna get so smashed.
Wow. So unrealistic.
And I wasn't excited with Nation Wars, but I think I gotta see SpaceMarine play now. He's hyped himself up pretty hard.
Yeah. Gonna have a good time. Get some popcorn. SpaceMarine and Yona, it's your downfall, buddy.
What about you, uThermal?
Yeah, Yona is just gonna 12 you kill in 5 minutes.
You guys can follow me on
if
Twitter.
that happened.
Wow, that's BMD. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I'm pretty active at uThermal. I'm also streaming quite a bit. I just did a bootcamp for 5 days, streaming 6 hours a day, between 12 and 6 CET. I'm probably going to do that the following days as well.
What's your Twitch
I
again?
hope desRow is friendly enough to write my stream in the chat. SRC Avalon. Or write hi desRow in the chat.
Yes.
It's kind of a hard name, so I hope you
Yeah,
can,
it's a little bit weird that that's your
You know, it's really old. But I got the followers on there. And someone took the account uThermal, so whatever. I'm planning on starting the stream quite a bit, so you can follow me there. Probably going to stream a bit tomorrow, preparing to lose against Denmark. As if anyone believes that. And yeah, hope you guys tune in tomorrow. Follow my channel, follow my Twitter. That's it.
What about you, Morrow? So now that you lost to France and you let your country down.
Back to the usual stream. My stream is a little bit different now since I'm so motivated for Legacy of the Void, and since I changed race, I have a lot of catching up to do to these other guys. So playing without music, playing without much commentary. So it's a little bit resident sleeper for some people, but I've been lucky with the viewer count for the last few days. So maybe if you want to see some hardcore gaming, you can check my stream out at Twitch TV/Morrow. I'm streaming at the European hours from lunch to later. I don't know when I usually stop, maybe around 9 PM or something like that. So I'll be back tomorrow and streaming then.
Yeah. Cool. As for myself, I haven't been streaming this week. I'll be back on Saturday. Actually, Saturday I'll be doing a 24-hour live stream, so that'll be interesting. I haven't done one of those in like a year, so it's gonna be like 70% StarCraft and then some CS:GO and some other shit to when I feel like I want to kill myself. But yeah, no, thank you to you guys for coming on the show. Great discussion, really. Appreciated you guys.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me your time, and I hope you guys enjoyed it on the stream as well. We'll see you guys next week. I'll try to post the guest list on Monday again, so that you guys can plan ahead. But yeah, thank you again for watching, and have a good week.
Peace.